Three signals that orient any brain, whether human or machine. You've been working on developing better prompts for the AI, but you're still walking into meetings with hope that it goes well. It's the same skill, two different worlds. Three signals to get the room rowing with you. I'm Michael Brunner. I help professionals land ideas and shape decisions. By the end of this video, you'll learn the three signals that help shape any brain, whether human or machine. And you'll have one move you can run in your next conversation. Let's start with how without signaling, you can get lost. I was behind the wheel of a car driving in a city that I didn't know. The navigator was in the passenger seat and we were having a great conversation. They had Google Maps running on their phone, yet somehow we missed our turn. So where did the breakdown happen? The destination was decided, the tools were all working, the phone was charged, the GPS signal was good, and the app was working, but our attention was elsewhere. The breakdown was in the signaling, or lack thereof. After looping around and getting back on track, we made an adjustment. The discussion continued, but there were signals woven into the conversation, where we were and where we would turn next. Simple things like turn right in 2 lights. Simple, but effective. The same phenomenon happens across multiple domains. When driving without landmarks, road signs, or navigation, you can get lost. In presentations or conversations, listening to somebody without cues and signals can be exhausting. Similarly, when prompting AI without the proper signals, you can be steered in the wrong direction. Here's the underlying principle. Signaling helps you orient throughout the journey. It gets you to your destination more directly, more efficiently, more effectively. It prevents unnecessary detours and less rework. And signaling reduces friction and cognitive load with your audience. It makes it easier for them to follow along. Here's what I've found. The same cue that sharpens an AI response orients a person. You're telling the other side who to be, where is this going, and where are we in the journey. You're giving the brain road signals so that it doesn't have to guess. And a brain that doesn't have to guess can actually listen better. Many professionals have learned to prompt the machine effectively but are still leading people with hope. That gap is this whole piece. Signaling reduces the work that it takes to follow you. Without it, people burn energy guessing where you're headed. And that is exhausting. With it, they track you and they get there. This works on humans and machines for the same reason. 3 signals, 1 brain doing less work. Let's jump straight in. First up, signal the role. Ask our household, will somebody empty the dishwasher? And nothing gets done. Not because they refuse to help, not because they're not good people. It's because of something called the diffusion of responsibility. Everyone has something going on and thinks that somebody else will get it. But everyone's kind of thinking the same thing, and the reality is no one has it. Assign someone to the role by name and it gets done. Similarly, watch what happens when you ask for help without naming the role. What do you think? Maybe gets a shrug? Not quite the answer you imagined. Here's why. The person didn't know what you need, so they don't engage or they guess. And they usually guess wrong. Now try naming the role. I just need you to listen to me right now. I need your help in brainstorming some alternatives. Would you challenge and pressure test this proposal? Help me think of the questions people will ask. Can you help me get people aligned to this decision? 5 different roles, 5 completely different conversations. You've not changed the topic, but you've changed the role. You've assigned a specific and different job to be done. When prompting AI, if you say, act like a risk management professional and help me to understand what can go wrong, you get a sharp, useful answer. Part of prompt engineering is setting the role to play. The role determines the expertise of the response. For more info on this, click on the link in the description below about the fluent prompting method. People who have gotten good at AI are assigning it a role when they give it an ask, or better yet, designed a specific skill to invoke for a task. That is signaling that matches the role with the work at hand. And that exact skill that is effective with AI is effective with people as well. At the end of the day, whether with humans or with AI, communication is the master skill. This is the cleanest bridge between humans and machines that there is. When you tell AI to play the role of an editor or a strategist or a skeptic, you're doing the identical thing. You're collapsing 1,000 possible responses to the one you actually need, the one that will make the most difference and create the most value. Neuroscientists call this reducing the search space. What you're doing is sparing them the other side of the work that has to do with figuring out what you actually want. So all their energy goes into giving it to you. The failure mode is assuming the people or the machine knows their role. They do not. Silence is not a role. An agenda is not a role. Name the part you need them to play out loud before you start. Tell them who you need them to be and they will know how to help. Second, signal the outcome. A meeting or a prompt with no frame is just a room full of guesses. To use a navigation system, the first thing that you do is you enter your destination. If you need help from AI, you need to let it know the outcome that you are trying to achieve. And that works with people too. Here's the underlying reason this works. Humans are teleological beings. That's a big word, but it's a simple idea. Telos is a Greek word that means the ultimate aim or purpose or goal. The simple idea is that our brains are wired to aim. The brain refuses to operate without an endpoint. Drop someone into a meeting without a clear outcome, and the brain does not pause and wait. It manufactures one. And now every brain in the room is driving towards a slightly different destination. Naming the outcome is not wasted time or just added information to the meeting. It is a convergence of 12 private destinations to one. And alignment is powerful. If you're in a boat and you're not synchronized and rowing to the same destination, it's not very efficient. But if you get everybody rowing together, it's powerful. The first 60 seconds of any meeting are doing more work than people realize. Today, we are here to make a decision about funding this project. Or today, we are gathered here to celebrate 30 years. Those are not just throat clearing. They're the frame that tells every brain in the room what kind of event this is and what it's for. Set the outcome and people settle in and may even help you make it happen. They stop wondering if this is a decision meeting or a discussion or a venting session. They know, and knowing frees them to bring the right energy to productive purposes, instead of spending all this energy trying to decode and decide what is going on in the room. Skip the outcome up front, and you get the meeting that everyone dreads. People talk past each other because half of them think it's a brainstorming session and half of them think that it's a sign-off. The cost is not just confusion. It's the slow drain of the room spending its attention on navigation rather than on the actual work. The same move sets up an effective AI exchange. We're drafting a board memo. The audience is skeptical and the goal is yes. That's a container. That's a purpose. That's an outcome to frame the interaction. It tells the model the outcome, the kind of thing this is, before it writes even a single sentence. Name the outcome and you just might get there. I love the scene in The Incredibles when the kids ask, "Dad, when are we gonna get there?" And he says, "We'll get there when we get there." That one always makes me laugh. And there's a deep truth within that. People want to know where they are on the journey. Here's a small habit that's illustrative of the desire to know where we are. Even when I know exactly where I'm going, I tend to plug in the GPS and turn it on. I start the navigation not because I'm lost, but I'm curious as to how long it's going to take to get there, where I am on the journey, and if there's any traffic or anticipated slowdowns, if I need to reroute on the way, and it frees my mind to think instead of navigate. Some signals are not for finding the route, they're for staying calm and grounded along the way. If you ever go to a map on a wall like at an airport, you look for the "you are here" spot. Knowing where you are is key to getting where you're going. Navigation is a huge part of the user experience. Software developers, product developers, user interface designers know this all too well. The key is to decrease the friction along the way for an easier and delightful user experience. People need the same thing, whether for a project plan or for a conversation or using a product. They want to know where they are and how much is left. That's why a gas gauge is so handy on your car. So you signal the journey. In a project, a simple red light or green light could save a lot of time versus reading a 10-page report. That frees you to point your attention to create gap closure for things that are off track. That's the way that a leaner, agile team operates instead of narrating that everything is fine. In a meeting, it sounds different, but it works the same. 5 minutes left, 2-minute warning. You tell the speaker where they are in the space and how much time they have left. That way they can land the plane instead of being cut off mid-thought. And sometimes it's wonderfully human. We're 30 minutes from lunch. Help me keep this on point. You named exactly where you are in the journey and you enrolled the whole room as partners in getting there. Nobody's lost, nobody's guessing, everybody's rowing. Tell people exactly where they are and they'll spend less time wondering. So here's the move, and you can run it in your very next conversation. Pick one thing you're about to ask somebody, whether it's in an email or a meeting or a conversation, or if you're about to prompt AI. Before you ask, send one signal. Name the role that you want them to play, or set a purpose in where this is going and what the outcome is, or tell them where they are in the journey so they stop guessing. Just one intentional signal, not just in your head, but out loud. Then watch how much less effort it takes for them to follow you. That drop in effort, that's a gift. That drop in effort is the whole game. Subscribe if you want more. Every week I publish a new article on how to help professionals get heard and be more effective. You know where you want to go and the help that you need. Signal to the people and the AI to help you get there.